Distinguished guests, entrepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to warmly welcome Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat ji. Sir, thank you very much for joining us today and for taking the time to celebrate these extraordinary women entrepreneurs and chefs with us. Sir, under your leadership, culture has been positioned not just as preservation of the past, but as a powerful driver of economic opportunity and global engagement. Indian cuisine is one of the most vibrant expressions of that cultural strength. Every regional dish tells a story of community, craftsmanship, and continuity. Before his current portfolio as the Minister of Tourism and Culture, Shri Shekhawat ji served as the Union Minister of Jal Shakti, a tenure that left extraordinary mark on the country. Through the Jal Jeevan mission, crores of rural households across India received tap water connections. But beyond the infrastructure milestone, the deeper impact of this initiative was felt most profoundly by women. Women for generations in rural India had the responsibility of fetching water. And with the Jal Jeevan mission, it did not just deliver water, but it delivered time, dignity, and opportunity for millions of women. Thank you, sir. Today, as the Minister of Tourism and Culture, Shri Shekhawat ji is championing a vision that connects directly with the world of food entrepreneurship. He has often spoken about tourism as something deeper than an industry, as a bridge between civilizations, a driver of employment, and a celebration of culture. Many of the women we are honoring today are celebrating India's culture through their work. Whether it is celebrating the bold flavors of Punjab or bringing Chennai's nostalgic flavors to life, all of you are the cultural ambassadors of India. There is a beautiful couplet that reflects the spirit of collective progress. दीप से दीप जलते जाएं तो रोशनी बढ़ती जाती है, कदम से कदम मिलते जाएं तो राह बनती जाती है. Sir, on behalf of everyone at Swiggy, it is truly an honor to welcome you here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat. I would also request Harsha to kindly come up on stage. I would request Harsha to felicitate Hon'ble Minister, please. I now invite Mr. Rohit Kapoor, CEO of Swiggy's food delivery and out-of-home businesses.
Chefs, just delighted to see you all. So Women's Day actually on Sunday, and it's a double header this time because India, New Zealand will compete for attention on that day. That much I can tell you. It's happening in Ahmedabad, so I think it will be quite interesting. It's good for us because any event day is normally good business as well. You know that more than I do. We only do one part of your work, so you know it's good day. And given the cricket final is there, it should be even a double header. I think sometimes I often wonder, is there a reason to celebrate this around the Women's Day? And there's often criticism and celebration both ways. If you do, you're damned. If you don't, you're damned. So we'll rather do it because of different reasons. I think it is incredibly important to celebrate all of you in the room, not because you need to be celebrated, because celebrating you encourages millions of others, right? I think the transformative power of celebrating people who have accomplished something is exponential in nature, goes much beyond this room itself, right? And I've often wondered, like in Indian kitchens, it won't be an exaggeration to say 95% of Indian kitchens are run by women, right? There are a few men who do step in once in a while, but that would be the most accurate description of it. But at the same time, you see the entrepreneurship world, or even chefs, men outnumber women quite a bit even today. And the question is why? And there was a thesis which I read, a research topic on this, saying that anything which was remunerative in nature, men did edge out women over a period of time. Which is fascinating for me because that had never dawned on me. So I think what is really powerful is your 30-35 of you in the room who are running fantastic institutions, I would say, whether it's a small bakery or a large restaurant chain, or you're managing, what goes through large 5-star hotels and wonderful food, goes without saying. But also, we have about 70,000 restaurant partners on the platform who are women today, out of 3 lakh plus. And we are absolutely committed to make sure that this number crosses the lakh by the time we touch the end of this decade. Right? I have personally been to many of your restaurants, not here. Like I still remember stories from Varanasi, from Thrissur, all over the country, where I've gone and met people who had just started a hole in the wall pizza outlet or an Indian outlet, to very celebrated success stories like Hon'ble, which was founded by a woman entrepreneur, now one of the best exits to private equity in the Indian ecosystem. So this is not anymore a situation which is likely to happen. I think we are at the cusp of at least if we see new restaurants coming in, we are almost finding equal number of restaurants being founded by women. It is the old stock which is still keeping the ratio in favor the other way, but it is a very, very encouraging trend. And I think whenever you think of your business, you may not know it that day, you may not think about it that way, but whatever you succeed or even sometimes fail, that's okay, all of us do. You are just encouraging at least a dozen, 2 dozen more women to take up the business, become chefs, open restaurants, think big, and I think that's a real contribution. And I personally want to thank you for that on behalf of Swiggy. So once again, thank you for being here. It's very special. I always feel very good when we celebrate this and we are able to do this. And thank you everyone. Thank you sir. Thank you so once again for being here with us.
Thank you, Rohit, for your kind words. That was truly inspiring. I would now like to invite Siddharth Baku, Chief Business Officer, Swiggy Food Marketplace, to announce the awards.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to SheTheChange. Let us now begin recognizing these outstanding women whose vision and perseverance has brought us here today. These all come from diverse backgrounds, and each of their stories is truly inspiring. I would request Honorable Minister Shekhawat ji, Harsha and Rohit to please do the honors. Please join me in celebrating the first awardee. We have Akshaya Murli of Geetam Veg Restaurant. Carrying forward her father's dream, Akshaya has grown Geetam into a 19-outlet vegetarian powerhouse in Chennai, rooted in tradition, scale and community trust. Please give a big round of applause for Akshaya. We now have Alina Alam, Mitti Cafe, founder of Mitti Cafe and a globally recognized social entrepreneur. Alina has built an inspiring brand that empowers specially abled individuals through food, dignity and opportunity. The award will be collected by her head of operations, Srini, on her behalf. awardee Anisha Saini of Mrs. Kaur. Through Mrs. Kaur, Anisha celebrates a legacy of love and tradition, serving handcrafted desserts and artisan breads that taste like home. Please keep the applause going. We then have Bhumi and Samiksha Patnikar of Kaya, entrepreneurs and change makers. They are leveraging their influence to back purpose-driven food and lifestyle ventures that champion sustainability in modern India. We then have Deepika Sethi of Bright Hospitality. Through Bright Hospitality, a legacy-driven hospitality powerhouse, Deepika has redefined the Indian culinary landscape through experiential brands like Ek Punjab, GT Road, Any Day, Espressos Any Day, AMPM Cafe, and many more. Big round of applause for Deepika. We then have Divya Parwani of Pind, founder of Pind in Chennai. Divya has spent over a decade recreating the warmth of Punjabi village dining experience while building a women-empowered hospitality brand. Next we have Jaya and Poonam Tulsiani of Basera. This dynamic mother-daughter duo, Jaya and Poonam, transformed a dormitory kitchen into Basera, a beloved women-led North Indian dining destination in Goa. Now it's over to Kenaz, contractor of Bhavan, a seasoned hospitality professional and restaurateur. Kenaz has built award-winning regional concepts and continues to champion deeply personal Indian narratives through Bhavan. Big hand for Kenaz. Moving to the next winner, we have Linsa Sanpati and Tamasa Mishra, VP Dumpling Dynasty. From a home kitchen in Bhubaneswar to actually being national award winners, Lipsa and Tamasa are reshaping India's QSR scene with bold innovations like mutton and prawn dumplings. We have Mehak Sugandh of Cacao Springs and the Big Chocolates, a globally trained chocolatier and Times Hospitality awardee. Mehak has transformed the fine chocolate into edible luxury with Cacao Springs at the Binge. We then have Niharika Sashi Kheria of Moi The Desert Studio, the Cotton Blue trained and founder of Moi. Niharika turned her childhood love for baking into one of Ahmedabad's most refined dessert destinations. We then have Payal Pathak of Simply Salad, a resilient entrepreneur. Payal built Simply Salad from a post-pandemic restart into a Shark Tank-backed healthy food movement in Ahmedabad. Next is Rucheta Bhatia of Poetry by Love and Cheesecake. At Poetry by Love and Cheesecake, Rucheta crafts spaces where European elegance means heartfelt hospitality. Congratulations, Shreya. Now have Saloni Kukreja of Hindu Ice Cream, from viral culinary creator to Forbes 20 under 30 founder of Hindu Ice Cream. Saloni blends nostalgia and innovation into scoops that are Indian coffee. And one more in the same category, Shivani Mirchandani of -30. Championing clean label indulgence, Shivani has grown -30 into a beloved gourmet gelato brand for a new health conscious generation. Shreya Senapati of Spicy Signature, starting from a home store and overcoming repeated setbacks, Shreya scaled Spicy Signature into a commercial success, proving resilience. We then have Shri Devi Jasti of Vibrant Living. Through Vibrant Living, Shri Devi champions wholesome, plant-forward nutrition, turning clean eating into sustainable lifestyle products. The next award goes to Shri Devi Srinivasan Chennai Tadka, from bringing Chennai's flavors into Bihar by building a thriving health-focused dining brand. Shri Devi once again turned nostalgia into entrepreneurial purpose through Chennai Tadka. The next name needs no introduction. We have Suchali Jain of Suchali's Artisan Bakehouse, a former financial analyst turned into artisan baker. Suchali pioneered preservative-free sourdough in India and scaled Suchali into a phenomenal brand. We then have Toral Sanghavi and Sarah Jacob Nair of Nair on Fire. This dynamic partnership has elevated Kerala cuisine into a premium delivery-first brand with Nair on Fire, where Tara and Sarah blend authenticity with sharp brand strategy. Now turn our attention to the top chefs. These women are the masters of their craft, leading kitchens with technical precision and artistic vision. We first have Ahana Gaur, the Western Mumbai Garden City, trained in IHN Mumbai and seasoned across multiple brands. Ahana now leads with precision and passion as a sous chef at the Western Mumbai Garden City. We then have Amrita Kaur of Holistic Gourmet Chef, a medical student turned Ayurvedic chef. Amrita blends culinary creativity with holistic wellness, shaping a more mindful way of eating. We have Hanisha Singh of Plaid Savage Sandwich and Char, a globally experienced menu developer and partner across multiple acclaimed concepts. Hanisha brings international technique and sharp culinary vision to every table that she shapes. Sarah Jory from Unico. At the helm of Unico, Richa curates elevated dining experiences that merge global flavors with refined hospitality. Please applaud Samta Gupta, a multi-brand hospitality entrepreneur. She has built and scaled diverse F&B concept with sharp operational focus and market insights. Tanvi Arora from Tanvi's Dream Oven, leading 50 plus restaurants in 55 cities. Tanvi is a powerhouse entrepreneur redefining scale, culture and operational excellence in Indian hospitality. The award is being received by the co-founder Muskan Datia. Last but not the least, we have Tarannum Sehgal of Espressos Any Day, a former advertiser turned professionally trained chef. Tarannum channels Michelin star kitchen experience into trend-forward, globally inspired menus at Espressos Any Day. Segment, I would now request Honorable Minister Shekhawat ji to please address the gathering. Thank you so much.
SheTheChange. स्विगी द्वारा आयोजित आज के इस कार्यक्रम में जब हम सब लोग ऐसे वुमन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स जिन लोगों ने अपने परिश्रम से, अपने पुरुषार्थ से, अपनी काबिलियत से न केवल अपने आप को स्थापित किया, सिद्ध किया, they have not only proved yourself, अपितु देश की आधी आबादी के लिए बहुत बड़ी प्रेरणा खड़ी की। हम सब उसका से उनका सम्मान करने के लिए यहाँ एकत्रित आए हैं। सामान्यतया मुझे सामाजिक जीवन में रहते हुए अनेक कार्यक्रमों में जाने का सौभाग्य मिलता है और पिछले इस 35 साल की यात्रा में हजारों ऐसे अवसर हुए होंगे जब मुझे ऐसे कार्यक्रमों में जा करके बातचीत करने का, कार्यक्रमों में जा करके प्रतिभाओं का सम्मान करने का सौभाग्य मिला हो, जहां विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में उत्कृष्टता का प्रदर्शन करने वाले, कीर्तिमान रचने वाले, जीवन के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में जिन्होंने बेहतरीन प्रदर्शन किया है, ऐसे लोगों का सम्मान करने का सौभाग्य मिला हो। लेकिन आज का कार्यक्रम निश्चित रूप से अनूठा है और वो अनूठा इसलिए कि सामान्यतः मैं जितने कार्यक्रमों में जाता हूं, इस तरह के जो कार्यक्रमों में जाने का जब कभी भी अवसर मुझे मिलता है, जिन लोगों का सम्मान किया जा रहा है उनकी संख्या उस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित कुल लोगों के कंपैरिजन में जो है बहुत कम होती है। शायद 1, 2, 5 लोगों का सम्मान हो रहा होता है, बाहर बहुत सारे लोग सामने बैठे होते हैं, सम्मान से प्रेरणा लेने वाले बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं, बहुत सारे लोग उस सभागार में होते हैं। लेकिन आज का कार्यक्रम अनूठा इस दृष्टिकोण से है, इतने सारे प्रेरक व्यक्तित्व सामने और हम कुछ लोग शायद, मुझे तो लगता है कि हर्षा एंड टीम, द स्विगी टीम, दे हैव आल्सो क्रिएटेड एन एम्पायर जो है जीरो से खड़ा करके इस मुकाम तक ला करके खड़ा किया, दे आर आल्सो अ सोर्स ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन। मुझे लगता है कि इस सभागार में कैमरामैन के अलावा मैं ही अकेला हूँ जो इंस्पिरेशन लेने के लिए आप सब लोगों के बीच में उपस्थित है। आई एम ए सिस्टर्स ब्रदर एंड आई एम ए डॉटर्स फादर। और मुझे लगता है कि आप लोगों को देख करके, आप लोगों ने जिस तरह से शून्य से शुरुआत करके अपने आप को न केवल स्थापित किया, अपने आप को सिद्ध किया, अपितु अपने आप को एक रोल मॉडल के रूप में, एक सोर्स ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन के रूप में खड़ा किया। मैं आप सबको बहुत सारी बधाई देता हूँ, आदरणीय रोहित जी को, आदरणीय हर्षद जी को, और ये प्रेरक अवसर प्रदान करने के लिए, सौभाग्यपूर्ण अवसर प्रदान करने के लिए आदरणीय नेहा जी को मैं हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूँ, इनका आभार ज्ञापित करता हूँ। मित्रों, आप सबके बीच में उपस्थित होना मेरे लिए एक नई ऊर्जा को प्रदान करने वाला, एक प्रेरणा को प्रदान करने वाला अवसर है, क्योंकि हम सब लोग यहाँ केवल प्रतिभा का या किसी उत्कृष्टता या उपलब्धि का सम्मान करने के लिए एकत्रित नहीं आए, अभी तो हम सब लोग एक परिवर्तन की कहानी को सम्मान देने के लिए यहाँ एकत्रित हुए। हम लोग द चेंज व्हाट यू पीपल हैव क्रिएटेड, उसको ऑनर करने के लिए हम सब लोग आए, क्योंकि ये जो कहानी है, ये कहानी बहुत अनूठी है। मैं तो सामान्य गांव की पृष्ठभूमि से आया हुआ व्यक्ति हूं, और मैं जानता हूं कि एक महिला के जीवन में किसी नए विषय को खड़ा करना, भारत के समाज में किसी विषय को खड़ा करना, न केवल खड़ा करने के लिए अपने आप को, परिवार को कन्विंस करना, और उस मुकाम तक जाकर के अपने आप को सारी चुनौतियों को परास्त करके अपने आप को जो है सफल करना। इस कहानी में निश्चित रूप से साहस भी होता है, संघर्ष भी होता है, नवाचार भी होता है, और इस कहानी में भारत के नए भविष्य की या नए भारत के भविष्य की झलक भी दिखाई देती है। मैं आप सबको, जिन 28 शानदार उद्यमियों का हमने सम्मान किया, मैं आप सबको आज के इस अवसर पर बहुत सारी बधाई देते हुए आप सबका हृदय से अभिनंदन करना चाहता हूं, आप सबका धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं। मित्रों, सपने देखने का साहस बहुत सारे लोग कर सकते हैं। रात को जागते हुए भी, रात को सोते हुए भी, और रात को जागते हुए भी, और दिन में जागते हुए भी, दोनों तरह से सपने देखे जा सकते हैं। लेकिन उन सपनों को हकीकत में बदलना, ये निश्चित रूप से बड़ा चुनौती का काम होता है, और एक बहुत बड़े संकल्प की शक्ति की उसके पीछे आवश्यकता होती है। और आप ऐसे लोग हैं जिन्होंने न केवल सपना देखा है, अभी तो सारे संघर्षों के बावजूद भी अपनी ऊर्जा से, अपने आत्मविश्वास से, अपनी क्षमता से और अपनी कंटिन्यूटी, उसके पीछे कंटिन्यूअस परसुएशन करके आप लोगों ने जो है इस सफलता के शिखर पर अपने आप को हासिल किया है। तो जब मैं आप लोगों के उत्साह को, आत्मविश्वास को अभी यहाँ अनुभव कर रहा था, और आप लोगों की उपस्थिति से जो ऊर्जा यहाँ प्रस्फुटित हो रही है, द एनर्जी विच इज कमिंग आउट ऑफ दिस हॉल, ये केवल 28 बहनों की उपलब्धि मात्र नहीं है, अभी तो ये भारत के स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम की जीवंतता का प्रमाण यहाँ उपस्थित हो रहा है। मित्रों, हम सौभाग्यशाली हैं कि हम एक ऐसे अवसर पर हम सब लोगों को काम करने का सौभाग्य मिला है, जन्म लेने का सौभाग्य मिला है, जब देश परिवर्तित हो रहा है, विश्व परिवर्तित हो रहा है। वी आर पुटिंग अपॉन हीप ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज। हम एक ऐसे समय पे जो है काम करने का अवसर मिला, क्योंकि आज से शायद एक पीढ़ी पहले, मैं नहीं कहता कि उस समय कुछ लोगों ने साहस नहीं किया होगा, उस समय भी अनेक ऐसी महिलाएं होंगी, हम उदाहरण देकर के ढूंढ सकते हैं, जिन लोगों ने शायद साहस करके और इस तरह का they would have become the light of the lamp, उन्होंने शायद दीप स्तंभ के रूप में अपने आप को स्थापित किया हो, लेकिन उनके सामने चुनौती जो है वो हमारे सामने जितनी चुनौती है उससे कई गुना चुनौती उनके सामने होगी। आज हम एक ऐसे समय में काम करने का सौभाग्य प्राप्त कर रहे हैं जब एक तरफ अवसर हमारे सामने उपलब्ध है, वो अवसर काम करने के सौभाग्य के अवसर के रूप में, और दूसरी तरफ बदलती हुई अर्थव्यवस्था और बढ़ते हुए भारत और बदलते हुए भारत के स्वरूप के रूप में जो अवसर हमारे सामने है। हम ऐसे समय में काम कर रहे हैं जब देश बदलाव के रास्ते पर है और देश की जो आधी आबादी जिसको आप लोग रिप्रेजेंट करते हो, उस आधी आबादी की ताकत को एक बार फिर भारत ने, जो भारत की परंपरा थी, उस परंपरा को स्वीकार करते हुए, उस परंपरा को वापस पुनर्जीवित करते हुए, उस आधी आबादी की शक्ति को, आधी आबादी की ताकत को जो है वो पहचान करके उसको एक बार फिर मुख्य धारा में अवसर देने का काम किया। ऐसे समय में हम सब लोग काम कर रहे हैं, ऐसे समय में हम लोग सब काम कर रहे हैं जब हमको अपने आइडिया को रियलाइज करने के लिए हमारे पास में टेक्नोलॉजी का टाइम है। अदरवाइज अब से पहले शायद कोई व्यक्ति इस तरह से अगर अपने आप को इस तरह से खड़ा भी करता, अपने किसी सपने को साकार करने के लिए, अपने किसी हुनर को जो है वो आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, उस हुनर के आधार पर अब जो संकल्प किया उस संकल्प को सिद्ध करने के लिए, उसे लोगों तक पहुंचाने के लिए शायद बहुत बड़ी चुनौती होगी, उसके सामने कोई अवसर नहीं होगा, बहुत बड़े रोड ब्लॉक्स होंगे। लेकिन आज तो टेक्नोलॉजी के इस जमाने में जो है वो सारे रोड ब्लॉक समाप्त होते हुए हमको दिखाई देते। हम सब लोग क्योंकि कुलिनरी के और फूड के क्षेत्र में काम करने वाले लोग हैं। मैं अभी सुबह, आज सुबह बर्लिन से आया हूं। मैं अभी अक्षय जी को बता रहा था, रोहित जी को, कि बर्लिन में 800 इंडियन रेस्टोरेंट्स हैं एक शहर। मैं आज से जब 26-27 साल पहले जब जापान में काम करता था, तब जापान में पूरे टोक्यो शहर में एक इंडियन रेस्टोरेंट हुआ करता था। ढूंढने जाना पड़ता था, शेरे पंजाब बहुत दूर था, लेकिन वो क्रेविंग फॉर द इंडियन फूड जब होती थी तो वहां तक जाना होता। लेकिन आज टोक्यो शहर में भी लगभग 100 ऐसे रेस्टोरेंट होंगे जो इंडियन फूड वहां पे सर्व कर रहे हैं। क्योंकि भारत का जो भोजन है, भारत में खाना केवल सिर्फ खा करके पेट भरने जितना विषय नहीं है। इट इज पार्ट ऑफ आवर कल्चर, और यह हमारी स्मृति भी है और हमारी विरासत भी है। और जिस तरह से हम पूरे विश्व को फॉलो करते हुए, पूरी दुनिया फॉलो करते हुए पश्चिम की तरफ जा रहे हैं, मैं पूरी जिम्मेदारी के साथ में आपको कहता हूं, क्योंकि मैंने एग्रीकल्चर मिनिस्टर के रूप में काम किया और दुनिया भर के फूड एंड एग्रीकल्चर के प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे जाकर के वहाँ एज ए स्पीकर बात की। मैं अपने अनुभव के आधार पर आपको कह सकता हूँ कि फूड इज सून गोइंग टू बी इंडस्ट्रियलाइज्ड। घर में खाना बनाने की विधा जो है, मैं अपने दोस्तों से हमेशा कहता हूँ कि ये जो रात को 12 बजे घर जाओ और पत्नी, बहन या माँ आपको गर्म रोटी बना के जो फूला हुआ फुल्का बना करके देती है, वो जमाना समाप्त हो जाएगा। ये लग्जरी लास्ट जनरेशन है जिसके पास में, उसके बाद में नहीं होगी। तो दुनिया में किसी के पास नहीं, सिर्फ भारतीय मुल्क के लोगों के पास है। तो ये जो जमाना है ये समाप्त हो जाएगा, तब नए अवसर आप जैसे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए पैदा होने वाले हैं। और मैं तो रोज ही देखता हूँ, मैं आज जैसे मैंने कहा, मेरी 2 युवा बेटियां हैं और एक बेटा है। सब लोग, मैं रात को ऑफिस के काम से 1-2 बजे पहुंचता हूँ। मुझे लगता है कि 1-2 बजे जब पहुंचता हूँ तभी स्विगी वाले को घंटी बजाने का टाइम होता है। वो या तो जोमेटो घंटी बजा रहा होता है, स्विगी घंटी बजा रहा होता है। रात को 2 बजे मुझे समझ नहीं आता रात को 2 बजे पिज़्ज़ा मिलता कहाँ है। बट वो रात को 2 बजे, 1 बजे, 2 बजे खाना मिलना है, ऑर्डर पर खाना मिलना, विद इन स्टिपुलेटेड टाइम खाना मिलना, गर्म खाना मिलना, ऑफ देयर चॉइस खाना मिलना, ये जो जमाने का परिवर्तन है, इस परिवर्तन में कुछ चुनौतियां भी खड़ी होगी, खुद की होगी। लेकिन मैं ये मानता हूँ कि इस परिवर्तन के चलते हुए एक बहुत बड़ी दुनिया जो है उसके ऊपर से पर्दा हट गया और वो अवसरों का एक पहाड़ हम सब लोगों के सामने खड़ा है। ऐसे समय में आप से लोग जिन्होंने इस क्षेत्र में काम करके अपने हुनर से और अपने परिश्रम से सफलता प्राप्त की है, वो हजारों ऐसी बहनों के लिए नया जो है एक सवेरा लेकर के, एक टॉर्च की रोशनी बन करके आप सब लोगों को मित्रों, आने वाले समय में जैसा मैंने अभी कहा कि भारत के भोजन की पहचान जिस तरह से पूरे विश्व में बन रही है, आने वाले समय में हेल्दी फूड और इंडियन जो पुरानी हमारी रेसिपीज थी, जो दादी नानी की रेसिपीज होती थी, जो हमारी लॉस्ट रेसिपीज होती थी, उनकी डिमांड तो बढ़ेगी, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ में मैं ये मानता हूँ कि भारत अब जब एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस की एक्सपोर्टिंग नेशन के रूप में अपनी नई पहचान बना है। बेशक अब आज हम दुनिया के सबसे ज्यादा फूड ग्रेन्स उत्पादन करने वाले देश हैं। हमने इस साल चावल के उत्पादन में भी चाइना को पीछे छोड़ दिया। हम सबसे ज्यादा गेहूं पैदा करते हैं, हम सबसे ज्यादा चावल पैदा करते हैं, हम सबसे ज्यादा शुगर और शुगर केन पैदा करते हैं, हम सबसे ज्यादा कॉटन पैदा करते हैं। हम दुनिया में सबसे ज्यादा डेयरी प्रोड्यूस करने वाले डेयरी प्रोडक्ट्स दूध उत्पादन करने वाले देश हैं। हम दुनिया में दूसरे बड़े मीट एंड फिशरीज के एक्सपोर्टेड देश हैं। हम दुनिया के सेकंड लार्जेस्ट फ्रूट्स एंड वेजिटेबल ग्रोवर हैं। एक जमाना था जब भारत अपने भोजन के लिए, अपने लोगों का पेट भरने के लिए दूसरे लोगों पर, दूसरे देशों पर आश्रित था। मुझे पता नहीं आप लोगों में से कितना लोग हिस्ट्री पढ़े हैं। सन 60 के दशक में, 70 के दशक के शुरुआत में उस समय के प्रधानमंत्री लाल बहादुर शास्त्री जी को भारत के लोगों का आह्वान करते हुए कहना पड़ा। मुझे याद आता है, मैं जब छोटा था तो मेरी दादी माँ हमेशा संडे को व्रत करती थी। मैं उनसे पूछता था, माँ ये जो है संडे को कौन से भगवान का व्रत होता है? तो वो कहते थे कि ये शास्त्री जी का व्रत है। पहले मैं नहीं जानता था, मैं जानता था शास्त्री जी भी शायद कोई, बहुत सारे भगवान है भारत में, उनमें से कोई हो गया, या कोई शास्त्री जी ने बता दिया होगा उनको किसी गांव में। लेकिन बाद में मुझे समझ में आया कि लाल बहादुर शास्त्री ने पूरे देश को ये कहा था कि लोगों को सप्ताह में एक समय पे भोजन जो है वो नहीं करना चाहिए, उपवास करना चाहिए, ताकि दूसरे लोगों का पेट भरा जा सके। वहां से उठ करके आज हम एग्रीकल्चर पावर हाउस बन गए। 140 करोड़ से भी ज्यादा की आबादी होते हुए भी हम फूड सरप्लस नेशन हो गए। लेकिन अगर आज फूड प्रोसेसिंग की दृष्टिकोण से देखा जाए तो स्टिल वी आर एट द नेशन स्टेज, और हियर द न्यू अपॉर्चुनिटीज ओपन्स अप फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस। जब हम केवल भारत के लोगों के लिए थे, मैं आज जिम्मेदारी से कहता हूं कि आज भारत में अगर ठीक से कुछ दुनिया के इंटरनेशनल टेस्ट बड्स के अनुरूप, उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट के अनुरूप हमने फूड प्रोसेस करके, पैकेज करके, हीट एंड ईट के प्रोसेस सिस्टम पर अगर हम लेकर के आ जाते हैं, या रेडी टू ईट के जो है पोजीशन पर अगर हम बना करके जो है सर्व कर सकते हैं, तो पूरी दुनिया का मार्केट हमारे लिए अब खुला हो जाएगा और भी बड़ा हो जाएगा। और जिस तरह से माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की प्रेरणा से, उनके नेतृत्व में जिस तरह से हमारा यूरोपियन यूनियन के साथ में ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट हुआ, उस ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट ने हमारे लिए एक नई संभावनाओं के द्वार इस दृष्टिकोण से खोले। सरकार हर कदम पर ऐसे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स का सहयोग करने के लिए तैयार खड़ी होती है, और सरकार का एक छोटा सा इनिशिएटिव किस तरह से जीवन बदलता है। मैं पश्चिमी राजस्थान के छोटे शहर से आता हूँ। हमारे एक कार्यकर्ता, सामान्य से परिवार का कार्यकर्ता, छोटा सा काम करता था, रोजगार करता था, एक्सीडेंट में वो चला गया। 2 बच्चे उसके थे। उनकी पत्नी जो है, जब कभी भी हम लोग उनके यहाँ भोजन करने के लिए जाते थे, मित्र थे हमारे से कुछ कम उम्र के थे, उनकी पत्नी जो है बहुत अच्छे पिकल्स बनाते थे, अलग अलग तरह के मामलेट्स बनाते थे, पिकल्स सिर्फ शौक से बनाते थे। हस्बैंड की डेथ के बाद में एक बार रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज का पहाड़ उनके ऊपर आ गया था, उनको सामने अंधेरा दिखता था। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उस समय मुद्रा स्कीम शुरू की थी। लोगों ने उनसे कहा कि दीदी अगर आप ये काम करना शुरू कर दें, भाभी इसको अगर आप अपने इस हुनर को एज ए कॉमर्शियल वेंचर खड़ा कर दें, तो मुझे लगता है कि शायद बहुत अच्छा होगा, और हम सब मिलकर के उसमें आपका सहयोग करेंगे। वो एक छोटी सी मुद्रा लोन से उन्होंने शुरुआत की थी। आज उनका जो टर्नओवर है वो कई करोड़ रुपए तक पहुंच गया है। इतनी बड़ी सफलता उन्होंने प्राप्त की है। आप लोगों के पास में इस तरह की चुनौतियां, अनेक तरह की, अलग अलग तरह की जीवन में चुनौतियां होते हुए भी आपने अपने सपनों को सफल करने के लिए काम किया, और अपने आप को एक बिजनेस लीडर के रूप में जो है खड़ा किया। मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूँ स्विगी का कि इन सक्सेस स्टोरीज को आपने अवार्ड करके इस तरह से आगे ले जा करके केवल इनका सम्मान नहीं किया, अपितु इनसे प्रेरणा लेकर के लाखों लाखों ऐसी महिलाएं जो है हमारी मातृशक्ति अपने सपनों को साकार करने के लिए इंस्पायर हो सके, उसका एक नया रास्ता तय किया। मैं आप सबको बहुत सारी बधाई देना चाहता हूँ। क्योंकि हम एक ऐसे समय से गुजर रहे हैं जब एक तरफ जहाँ संभावनाओं के असीम द्वार भारत के लिए खुले, पूरे विश्व भर के लिए खुले, और वहीं दूसरी तरफ विश्व भर में खुले, वहीं दूसरी तरफ आधुनिकता के साथ साथ में हमारी परंपरागत विषयों की भी वापस एक बार नए सिरे से जो है वो परंपरागत विषयों की पूछ भी नए सिरे से प्रारंभ हुई। और जब ये दोनों मिलते हैं तब एक नई शक्ति का सृजन होता है और नई संभावनाओं का सृजन होता है। मैं आज आप सबको बहुत सारी बधाई देते हुए, क्योंकि मुझे आगे जा करके वापस अभी फ्लाइट पकड़नी है, इसलिए लंबा आप सब लोगों से बातचीत न करते हुए आप सबको खूब सारी बधाई देना चाहता हूँ। मैं चाहूँगा कि स्विगी इसको जो है इंडिविजुअल की सक्सेस स्टोरी को पूरा डिटेल करके और आपको पब्लिश करना चाहिए। स्विगी की जो भी आपका वेबसाइट होता है, जो आपका प्लेटफॉर्म होता है, उस प्लेटफॉर्म पर जो है कहीं एक ऐसा कॉर्नर हो ताकि इस सक्सेस स्टोरी से और इंस्पायर हो सके। ये केवल इस क्लैरिसिस के हॉल तक सीमित न रहे, ये केवल इसका जो है केवल जो है एक अवार्ड सेरेमनी तक सीमित न रहे। अब तो इनकी सक्सेस स्टोरी जो है वो दूसरों के लिए एक प्रेरणा का पुंज बन करके दूसरे लाखों युवा बहनें जो है इससे प्रेरणा लेकर के आने वाले समय में विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में, आवश्यक नहीं है कि हम केवल जो है फूड के क्षेत्र में स्विगी क्योंकि डायरेक्टली रिलेटेड है इसलिए ये उस विषय के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये प्रेरणा केवल किसी सब्जेक्ट स्पेसिफिक नहीं हो सकती। प्रेरणा जो है आपके सफलता की स्टोरी और आपकी सफलता की स्टोरी को कोट करके पूरे उसके ऊपर जो है उसको कैसे हम अधिकतम लोगों तक पहुंचा सकते हैं, इसके ऊपर हम सबको मिलकर के काम करना चाहिए। मैं सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहता हूं कि अंत में कि भारत बदल रहा है और हम जिस रास्ते पर चल पड़े, पूरा विश्व इस बात को स्वीकार करता है। मैं दीवार पर लिखा हुआ पढ़ सकता हूँ कि अब कोई ताकत नहीं रोक सकती कि हम विकसित देश बनेंगे। हम जिस रास्ते पर चल पड़े और जिस दौर से गुजर रहे हैं, ये अपार संभावनाओं का दौर है और हम सौभाग्यशाली हैं कि इन संभावनाओं के इस दौर में हम अपने परिश्रम से और अपने हुनर से न केवल अपने आप को कामयाब कर रहे हैं, अभी तो आप यू आर द कंट्रीब्यूटर्स ऑफ मेकिंग डेवलप्ड नेशन। आप सब लोग स्टेक होल्डर्स हो उसको, आप लोग सब उसके असेट साइड में हो जो आप इकोनॉमी को भी और देश के निर्माण में सहयोग कर रहे हैं। मैं हृदय से आप सबका धन्यवाद करते हुए आपका अभिनंदन करता हूँ।
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. That was truly inspiring. And now it's my pleasure to invite Shri Harsha Majeti, Managing Director and CEO of Swiggy, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir, for that truly inspiring address. I know I speak on behalf of every woman entrepreneur and chef honored here, as well as everyone watching us, when I say that your words will stay with us. It's particularly meaningful to hear from someone who, through the Jal Jeevan mission, touched the lives of millions of women in rural India, and who now, as the custodian of India's tourism and cultural heritage.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का इनिशिएटिव जल जीवन मिशन, जिसके लिए मुझे काम करने का सौभाग्य मिला, सही आप कह रहे हैं कि लगभग 13 करोड़ परिवारों की महिलाओं को पीने का पानी अपने सर पर उठा करके लाने के अभिशाप से उससे मुक्ति मिली। और मैं तो, जैसा मैंने कहा, मैं पश्चिम राजस्थान के उस क्षेत्र से आता हूँ, 2 मीटर क्षेत्र, उस क्षेत्र से आता हूँ जहाँ मैंने अपनी माताओं बहनों को रोज 5 किलोमीटर सिर पे मटका उठा करके पानी लाने के लिए जाते हुए देखा। और एक छोटी बच्ची जो होती थी, नेहा जी इसको समझ सकती है, छोटी बच्ची जब होती थी 12 साल की बच्ची, तब वो 10-12 साल की होती थी, तब वो कौतूहलवश अपने परिवार की बड़ी माताओं बहनों के साथ में सिर पे छोटी सी मटकी लेके पानी जाने की यात्रा शुरू करती थी। समय बीतने के साथ उसके जीवन में सब कुछ बदलता था। वो छोटी बेटी से बड़ी बेटी हो जाती, बड़ी बेटी के बाद उसकी शादी हो जाती, किसी परिवार की बहू बन जाती, बच्चे होते तो माँ बन जाती, बच्चे बड़े हो जाते तब तक बड़ी बहू हो जाती, बच्चों की शादी होती तो सास बन जाती, उनके बच्चे हो जाते तो दादी या नानी बन जाती। उम्र के साथ में सिर्फ एक चीज स्थायी रूप से कुछ बदलाव के साथ उसके साथ रहती, और वो था मटका। जैसे जैसे उम्र बढ़ती थी उसके मटके की साइज बढ़ती। और उसके ऊपर एक के ऊपर एक मटका, एक के ऊपर वो छोटी वाली मटकी जो बचपन की है, वो उसके ऊपर आकर के 3-3 मटके लेकर के रोज जाना, रोज वापस आना पानी लेने। और जब उम्र वापस बुढ़ापे की तरफ जाती थी, शरीर की ताकत कम होती थी, तो वो उसी क्रम में वापस उतरते भी थे मटके, और आखिर में 70 साल की बुढ़िया के भी सिर पे वो मटकी रह जाती थी। और वो एक जिंदगी में एक महिला पानी लाने के लिए जितने कदम चलती है, अगर उनको लीनियर कैलकुलेट करें हर्ष, तो वो धरती के 3 बार परिक्रमा लगाने जितना परिश्रम करता है। और इसके बाद में भी पानी जो मिलता है उसको, क्वालिटी ऑफ वाटर, नोइंग द फैक्ट दैट दिस वाटर इट इज कंटामिनेटेड, इट हैज आर्सेनिक, इट हैज डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ इम्प्योरिटीज, और इसको पिलाने से मेरा परिवार को अस्थायी नुकसान होगा। फ्लोराइड है, उसकी कमर झुक जाएगी, हड्डियां बैंड हो जाएगी, लेकिन फिर भी जानते हुए भी कि मेरे जो मैं पानी ला करके पिला रही हूँ, ये मेरे पति के लिए, मेरे बच्चों के लिए जहर के जैसा है, बट शी हैज नो अल्टरनेटिव। तो आप समझिए कि जल जीवन मिशन केवल इतना नहीं था कि पानी हमने लाया और पानी नल तक पहुंचा दिया, हमने कितने परिवार की माताओं बहनों को मटके से और साफ पानी मिले, गंदा पानी पीने की मजबूरी से मुक्ति दिलाई। लेकिन इससे भी बड़ा अगर कोई विषय था, वो था सैनिटेशन मिशन। देश में आप कल्पना करके देखिए, 2014 में जब देश में नरेंद्र मोदी प्रधानमंत्री बने, तब देश के 62% फैमिलीज के पास में टॉयलेट नहीं। कैन यू बिलीव दिस? जब प्रधानमंत्री बने तब 83%, 84% परिवारों में नल का पानी नहीं आता। आज मैं गर्व से कह सकता हूं कि 100% घर में हमने शौचालय बनाए, 12 करोड़ शौचालय बनाए। शौचालय बनाना केवल 4 दीवारें खड़ी करना नहीं है। एक महिला को जो रोज सुबह अपने आत्मसम्मान से समझौता करना पड़ता था, उसकी गरिमा को जो रोज चुनौती होती थी, उसको समाप्त करके उसको गरिमा प्रदान करने का काम प्रधानमंत्री ने। इसलिए ये विषय ऐसा केवल इतना नहीं है कि हमने जल जीवन मिशन में पानी पहुंचाने, विषय उससे बहुत बहुत बड़ा है। और 3 लाख बच्चे, आखिर में क्या था, इंडिया में टॉयलेट्स नहीं होने के कारण से जो पानी में वेक्टर बोर्न डिजीज होती थी, जो पानी की जो कंटेमिनेशन होता था, उससे 3 लाख बच्चे हर साल जो है वेक्टर बोर्न डिजीज से मर जाते हैं। 3 लाख बच्चे। आज वो आंकड़ा घट करके कपल ऑफ थाउजेंड्स में केवल रहे। आप कल्पना करिए, 2.5 लाख बच्चों की जिंदगी हर साल बचने लगी है। कितना बड़ा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन उसके कारण से। थैंक यू।
An arc from water to culture, from basic dignity to aspirational growth, mirrors the arc of India's own story. 11 years ago, we started Swiggy with a simple mission to elevate the quality of life for urban consumers by giving unparalleled convenience. 11 years later, we serve close to 25 million transacting users every month across 700 cities. But the numbers I care about today are different. I care about the 50 women in this room and the 70,000 women restaurant partners in the ecosystem that we serve today. The entrepreneurs who turned home kitchens into thriving brands, the chefs who are redefining Indian cuisine, the change makers who are proving that the food economy is not a man's world. I care about the fact that Shri Jain pioneered preservative-free sourdough in India and has just built an amazing brand after all of these years. Congratulations. That Akshaya Murali carried forward her father's dream and grew Geetam Veg into a 19-outlet vegetarian powerhouse in Chennai. That Payal Katha, a single mother, built Simply Salad into a Shark Tank-backed healthy food movement. That Jaya and Poonam Tulsiani transformed a dormitory kitchen into Basera, a beloved North Indian dining destination in Goa. That Ahana Gaur, as a sous chef at the Western Mumbai, represents the next generation of women in professional kitchens. And that Samta Gupta has built and scaled multiple F&B brands with remarkable operational focus. Each one of these stories represents the entrepreneurial energy that is reshaping India. And for us, we're committed to continue building a platform where entrepreneurs can grow, opportunities expand, and where more women can take their place at the center of a thriving food economy in India. Minister Shekhawat sir, we're deeply grateful that you took the time to be here. You were telling me about your flight and now you have another flight. I can only imagine how hard it must be, but really appreciate on behalf of all of us for taking the time and to meet these remarkable women and felicitate them. For everyone in this room, today will remain a deeply inspiring moment. On behalf of Swiggy, on behalf of every woman entrepreneur and chef honored today, and on behalf of everyone who believes in the power of SheTheChange, thank you, sir. Thank you all, and here's to making the third edition even bigger, and a very happy Women's Day to all the incredible women here today with us. Thank you.
What you're about to experience today didn't begin here. It began with talent that refused to stay unseen. Our partners have turned recipes into revolutions, redefining what it means to build, lead, and create. We at Swiggy are proud to be partners in their journey. In 2024, SheTheChange began as a celebration of these incredible women and their journeys. Today, it has grown and evolved, shining a light on entrepreneurs, chefs, and leaders who are changing India's food future. Their stories remind us every order delivered, every dish served, every dream chased moves us forward together. As we welcome you to SheTheChange 2026, we celebrate not just their success, but their spirit. SheTheChange 2026, powered by Swiggy.
A very good afternoon to all of you, and a very warm welcome on behalf of Swiggy. Please give yourselves a big hand. I'm completely inspired by all of you ladies being here today. So this is the part where you get to relax and take it easy and actually pay attention instead of just pretending to be listening, which is the chat that we're going to have over here. But it's, I had the good fortune of growing up in a household with my grandmother, and then my mother, and then my elder sister, though she claims she's younger now, then my wife and my daughter. So I've been brought up there. So when the Honorable Minister was talking about the last generation of the time when you can come home and get a hot chapati, as long as I'm there and my son is there, that's at least 2 more generations of hot chapatis for the family. So, so that's all going, but it's very exciting to be here. Thank you all of you for making the time to be here today. It's an incredible honor to have you all over here and to be able to sit down with the lovely ladies on my panel who are quite incredible. This conversation, as I pointed out yesterday when I was briefly talking to them on a WhatsApp message, is not going to be about how difficult it is for women, what a great challenge it is, how you overcome the difficulties, because I think that is the story for everyone in this room and for everyone who's not here today, men or women, just getting over the challenges that the world throws up at you. But the fact that you're a woman in India, achieving what you've achieved the way you have, and to be here today, being the success that you have and motivating so many other people, I think that is the important story that we're going to discuss. So we're going to pick the brains of these incredible ladies over here and hopefully have something interesting to say. So we've got Samiksha, we've got Saloni, we've got Amrit over there, and we've got Sridevi. Please give them a big hand. Welcome ladies, welcome all of you. I'm going to have a seat over here. We've got a mic which is not working, and I think you know how to do this better than me. I'm very bad at using it. I usually just scream my way through life, which is a lot easier. Yes, it's not. We have concluded. So let's start far away. Sridevi, start with you. How did the story begin for you? You've got an incredibly exciting life. I know you've been all over the world, you've been traveling, and now you're doing great stuff with Vibrant. But how did it start for you? Tell us how the beginning happened, and was it a carefully structured plan that you follow, or just do things just evolve and take you in?
My goodness, thank you. So lovely to be here. You said carefully planned, anything but. Anything but. I think my journey is as natural as it gets, going with the flow, just working from the heart. You know, I simply wanted to do something that I thought I knew better than others. So that is, as a food and nutrition background, I wanted to help people connect with food in a non-guilty way. in a way that they can get joy out of, because we choose food so many times a day and it's an important choice. So I wanted to, and I noticed when I came back from living abroad for a couple of decades, I noticed that my people, when I left when I was 21, people were eating natural food and there were no diets, that culture was not there. And I was telling people wherever I was living abroad, I would say, in India we're not like that. In India we eat, natural food, the recipes from our grandmas and all of that. And then it was not true. I just didn't notice the changes that happened. So when I came back for a visit, I saw such unhappy food culture that I took this mother role, and I wanted to just help people have a better relationship. So I started to give talks and workshops. That's all. No idea of business. I still wanted my free life, living wherever I was living, bohemian life. But I guess life had a different plan for me. So I ended up staying in India little by little, every year, a few more months. And then I found myself running a company called Vibrant Living. It is completely plant-based. And many people, question why I have to do plant-based. I was not even a plant-based person back then. It's just that plants were not used properly. Plants were not loved the way they're supposed to, and the respect they deserve. So I wanted to show. That's all.
Good for us, and I'm so glad that you did do everything that you've done. Sitting next to Sri Devi is Amrit. We're still contemplating whether it's Amrita or Amrit. That's depends on all of you. Whatever rolls off the tongue easier, please feel free. But in the beautiful foothills of McLeodganj and Dharamshala, how did you get there? What's the journey? Talk us through it. Was this a plan that you followed?
No, there was no plan, like everything else in life. First, about Amrit and Amrita, it's just like Ayurveda, like the same thing. And I am deeply passionate about the subject. Last 10 years ago, I got into Ayurveda. But I think I have to go a little back. I started as a radio jockey. That's what I was in my beginning of my career.
That's good, I'm done, yeah, please.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, sorry. But at that time, at an early age of being a radio jockey, it was very different. I remember 2010, I was actually posted in Delhi, and I was here 6 to 8 months. And at that time, I think the age wasn't ripe enough to know what kind of powerful role that actually was. We were asked to share whatever the Bollywood insights and trivias and things, and that's what it. My role at that time was to really promote, because India at that time was obsessed with Himesh Reshammia's songs. So I remember we were just really trying to get through that period. But when I moved to Bombay and the food career, I would say so started. It started just as a blog to explore, to experiment and share about that, and got into. Then I started teaching cooking, and from that, my first cooking workshop was in 2012, and I started with Indore because that's where I grew up, and I went back and people wanted to learn from me. But ever since, now also when somebody asks me what do you do, I say I teach cooking, because that's my most my biggest love. Because you feed someone fish for a day, you fed them for a day, but you teach them how to fish, and you fed them for life. That's something at the core of what I do. I also now a lot of people who I met after so long, especially Saloni and other people who are into content creation, know that how I was full-time into content creation, very commercial, successful as well, a lot of doing work with different brands and things. And there was a time when life completely switched, and I had to question, what do I stand for, what do I know, also neurodivergence. Once I also realized that mental health is really an important aspect of what we do, because I think as a young entrepreneurs, as women, there's always this kind of pressure of constantly performing as well, constantly showing up, constantly being there doing things, and while making it all graceful, nobody gets to know what is happening in the back, and that's a lot. So at this time, most rebellious thing that I could do was unplug, move towards slower, move towards mindful life, and without having to perform it on social media. So last 5-6 years, I'm not so active on Instagram, but I'm really active and very enjoying this whole rootedness that has come with my food. I still do Ayurvedic private dining experiences. I do a lot of private workshops. I do special menus for other people. But more than that, I am fully enjoying the community connection that I'm experiencing at this age. And to be recognized for this, to be like then be said that because you're not a trained professional chef, or not grinding it in the kitchen like how other people are doing, but yet this is also as important. And so this is what my journey has been. I am now enjoying ethnobotany. So right now I got some buranj flowers from here, you know, from Dharamshala, and I'm doing experimental gourmet menu with it, and which is what I enjoy with food. That we could really, as she said, plants were never really understood so deeply, like what we could do with them. And now there's whole open possibilities to it. So that's been my journey. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And as you can see, personally, it's very important for me because I'm all about perfectly healthy eating and just looking really fit. It's always been my goal. But there is, you know, the left half of this panel shows you the importance of where food in India is actually moving to, because we're looking at nutrition more, we're looking at protein, we're looking at the ways people eat better, live better lives consequently through it. And let's face it, we have fantastic food, but not all of it is evolved into its healthiest version. So I think, you know, as entrepreneurs in food, I'm sure you're all looking out for it. We have two great examples over here of how you can go. And then we have the young lady sitting next to them. I first met Saloni when we were at a shoot together. If I tell you how long ago, it'll give away her age, but it was a while. She was in her teens then. Let's just leave it at that. And the one thing that struck me was just this great passion for food, this absolutely beautiful smile that she has that just sort of knocked me off. That's the first thing I said to her. I said, you're getting out into social media. If you just keep smiling, it doesn't matter what else you do, it will work. But she is just so talented. She's done such incredible things. And now but let me not tell the story. Let you tell the story. So how did it start? Where did it go? And how did it end up with this incredible ice cream story? Tell us about that.
Firstly, thank you so much for so many compliments. But I basically started creating content, I think a little after Amrita Day, and that's how we connected as well. So yeah, I mean, I always was very passionate about food. A lot of opportunities that I had to go to cooking school just didn't end up working out. But I knew that I wanted to be in the industry and, you know, have some sort of connect with it. Is why I started creating content. That I did that for about 6 years, and then I ended up going to cooking school where I trained in cuisine and pastry. For me, it was very clear that I wanted to cuisine and I wanted to be in a hot kitchen. Then after 3 years of working in hot kitchens, not so much. I ran in the opposite direction. And then I recently started into about 2 years ago. So the idea is to create a lot of Indian flavors in the ice cream. I do feel like there is so much potential for showcasing Indian produce, Indian flavors, spices, coffee, chocolate, so many things that are not even tapped. And there is a huge market for good quality premium ice cream, and we don't have to compromise on quality when it comes to pastry and ice cream. And that's how it started.
Super. And Indu is the name you got from your mother?
No, we want to go back to so India, so comes from India. But,
oh, it does? Mother India.
Mother India.
Even a bigger mother. Well, it's a lovely name, and congratulations for the great things that you've achieved. Samiksha over here, a lot of you may know her. She's, she's part of the performing arts in this country. But the more important thing is that after you eat all sorts of food, healthy or otherwise, and then you have lots of desserts, then you need to sit down and have water, and that's how I'm going to start by introducing you. So Samiksha, tell us about that first. How does that water story begin for you? What was the idea?
So before we started Backbay, I was a lawyer,
and it's called Back Bay.
It's called Backbay.
Right.
Backbay is the brand name, and honestly, it just started. So just to give you guys a heads up, Backbay Aqua is the first product, and it comes in a paper packaging as opposed to the traditional glass or plastic packaging. And I think that became the foundation of the brand because we realized that in India there were so many people consuming water out of plastic, which is terrible for you. For reasons now which are way more prevalent and spoken about. But back in 2022 when we thought of this, it wasn't really discussed as much. So the entire concept started with changing how India drinks, bringing value to that. And so that's how Backbay started as a water company, but now it's a beverage brand. We are launching our sparkling water to support all of their food. So yeah, that's how Backbay started.
Well, fantastic. So we've got some great stories over here. I mean, I'm just frankly looking at all of you just sitting over here, I'm completely overwhelmed, mostly because my brain is telling me, just look at the amount of food that's out here right now. That's the first thing in my head. But you know, stories are important. What have you seen as the few changes? We'll get back to you, Shri. What have been the big changes in the last few years on the Indian food scene? What's sort of here to stay? And what are some of the sort of, you know, little peaks that are going to disappear? But how has food changed in India since you started?
Wow, yeah, food has really changed a lot, especially since COVID time. You know, 15 years ago, 2010, when I started, as I was telling you earlier, I was afraid to use the term plant-based or vegan. Vegan worse, of course. At least I would use the word plant-based sometimes to explain what I'm doing. But now I don't have to educate anymore. People know about it. People are also looking. Now it's not only the protein, I think even the protein craze is going down a little bit. What I see in the trends wise is that people are definitely looking for healthy food. They're understanding how food is making them feel. Earlier when I came, it was almost like food is a component that has only weight relationship. You eat more, you gain. You don't eat, you lose. That was the thing. That's it. It's about, you know, dietitians were prescribing like one toast, egg whites, and an orange juice. And yeah, you're on a deprivation diet, and of course that was only about weight. Now people are understanding how food is connected with your mind, your mental health, basically mental health, physical health, and even emotional health, apart from the planet health and, you know, cruelty towards animals and all of that. So definitely there's more awareness. I think thanks to COVID, that people are looking inward and making a connect with what they're choosing on a daily basis. And you know, fortunately now I don't have to preach anymore, because my forte is giving talks and workshops and teaching food like you. When I started to give workshops in Hyderabad in 2010, people would be like, can I bring my helper? Or can I send my helper? I'm like, no, you don't send your helper. You come and you can bring the helper together, because food is something that is, you know, I mean, it's so personal, and it shows love. You can express your love through food. You need to be in charge of it. It's such an important part. You can't outsource that job to somebody who's not educated, who doesn't have, you know, you give your children, you give food a certain way because you want their well-being, because you love them. You can't expect that from somebody who's maybe underpaid even, you know. And so you need to get educated. You need to get educated.
And it never ends though. I mean, you keep going for years and not completely understand what's happening.
I'm looking at people, it's like, how can you stay happy when such an important thing is not in your hands? Right? So I used to say, it's sexy to be in the kitchen. I used to just literally, I mean, I need to inspire people to get into the kitchen. So I think, you know, now a lot of people...
You're seeing a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful. And how about Ayurveda? Are we seeing a lot more awareness of Ayurveda coming in? Because that's a confusing subject for most people.
Definitely.
I mean, the last time I looked up at how to lose weight, it included owl parts and weird things that we mixed together, and sort of, I was a little worried, frankly. But do we have a clearer understanding? Is Ayurveda actually becoming bigger now, according to you, in the food scene?
There are two aspects to it. There is this entire population who love going to these centers, these like river retreats for like 8-day, 12-day. They would do the whole debauchery rest of the year, and they would go, and this 8-10 days again, we'd ask them to neem kha lo, karela pi lo, ye kar lo, and ye whatever different kind of panchakarma kar lo, and they cleanse, detox, right? And we know that like King Charles had come down to India before this as well. So we know that this is really happening, and especially people who can look at this. So even when somebody meets me and they say, oh, you went to Ayurveda, we go to this Ayurveda center for detoxing and all. And I'm like, okay, so that's a complete different side of Ayurveda, which is kind of got into the luxury market because it's so premium and it's so, you can't understand it, so we can package it better. We'll just throw in some soma and rasa and some kind of like nice Sanskrit words to make you, go into it. And then there is another aspect where it is so basic, it's part of our life. We put tadka in our dal, that's Ayurveda. Because there is that vata quality of the dal which is so drying that your body definitely right now to help it digest it, you need that oil and spices in it. So we've been having haldi doodh all these years, and then somebody, like especially what's happening like how yoga, people come from outside and they teach us the yoga, and that's what is happening in even Ayurveda. A lot of people are learning Ayurveda from now the Westerners because they have better understanding. And I understand, ghar ki murgi, dal barabar, so we don't really value. And when I got into Ayurveda 10 years ago, I went to this Ayurveda nutrition course in Canada. But before that, even as I had understanding of what is Ayurvedic food, somebody can tell me what is Ayurvedic food, you Google what is Ayurvedic food, you'll find khichdi, kejiguri, and all the other versions of it. And there's nothing beyond it. So when
I went to an Ayurveda cleanse clinic 20 years ago, and they gave me water, dal, and boiled bhindi.
The gruel and basic stuff, yes.
Yeah, and I ran away.
Yeah, I agree that because
I tend to do that. I run away when things get tough. It's a wonderful way to look at life.
Yeah.
So I literally ran away.
Yeah, because it's also so boring and it's not interesting. And then now it is like when shit is really gone, then that's when you only go for it. People only with chronic illnesses will go towards Ayurveda. If you're having heart attack,
more a part of daily life.
It has to be interesting, which is why I think I took this gourmet Ayurveda approach. And so, because basic principles are same, you want to eat what you can digest, make food, process it and cook it in a way, and eat local, eat seasonal. When you just do that, you can follow Ayurveda principles with much more ease and interest in it.
So what would be more interesting for you? To ask people who are into food to include a little bit of Ayurveda into everything? Or what is now fashionable is have a separate section that says healthy food and Ayurvedic sensibilities or whatever, catchy names. Is that more effective, or you think just everything should be a little tweaked?
We do like the idea of something like a nice packaging, a little novelty, a little. So, for example, I would make something like a nachni bhakri. I would turn it into like a tacos, right? So you're still having like the hari chutney, the mint chutney, and whatever you're putting on it. But if you present the same nachni bhakri tacos, people find it more interesting, and it's the same thing but packaged differently. So the food becomes Ayurvedic, and it's easier for body. You can see what's in the season. Mainly, Ayurveda is about understanding what your body, like it's different, everybody is different. So once you start understanding, it just gets easier and everything can become Ayurveda. So if I go to a cafe, I can have an iced Americano, but I know how much that fucks with the vata. So I will balance it with something, a little good fat, maybe a little dessert, so that I can still make it an Ayurvedic principle without having to follow the rigid rules of only eat this and only eat that.
Right. Of course, and that's something that we look at the world in black and whites a lot in food in India right now. Either everything is over the top and completely insane, or it's completely healthy, Ayurvedic, good for you, lower calorie, higher energy. That I think is a little bit of a limitation. I think maybe it's just our thinking, maybe it's how we're going about it. But I think somewhere in the middle lies the most interesting area. But Saroni, would you agree? Is that how you see people now coming to Hindu to sort of binge on ice creams once in a week and just go crazy, or is it now because you're using better products, giving a healthier opportunity to people? Are they making it more part of their lifestyle on a more routine basis?
Sure.
Where are deserts headed? Is it like exceptional or just part of life?
I think it's when you look at the indulgent category, when people want to indulge, they want to indulge. I think it's much more about like portion control now. Just looking at the ordering patterns as well. I think people are open to healthy dessert, but I feel there is a lot of gap in there, and like not enough people are doing things to be able to make dessert taste good when it is healthy. I also just think that tag of healthy attached to desserts is a first restriction, so like there is a bit of lack of awareness. But I feel like with the dessert category, people are still indulging. I just feel also it's just not about the food anymore. It is like the way people are ordering, that is changing quite a bit. Experiential. There's so much more pressure on experiences as well outside. So I just feel like consumption is changing. Social media has just changed the game completely.
just in terms of, it can change their mood in an instant, and, just the fact that they saw something and they want to order it instantly is, just how it is now. But with dessert, I do feel like there is a potential for healthy, like if I talk about ice cream specifically, there is a big potential, but I feel like we got to figure out ingredients and how to keep it clean, because currently
I don't have an issue with people in India generally addressing higher calorific food as unhealthy and lower calorie as healthy, which is what you said, a piece of toast and egg whites. But that I don't think is the solution, because good food and quality of food and the quality of ingredients and the quality of process is really what determines it. So what's your go-to, Samiksha? Where do you where's your sweet spot when you're out dining and having fun? If you eat, I have to throw that question out.
No, I eat. I absolutely love food, and I think because I'm such a big foodie is why beverage again becomes a very important part of our life right now. For instance, if you're eating Indian food, you want your Coke, you need that soda with it, right? To sort of make everything good. But just to sort of shoot off to what they were talking about, I feel in terms of the beverage space, there's so much happening, and it is such an exciting place to be at right now, because everyone is getting so aware of what they are putting into their bodies, and consumers want cleaner products, they want transparency in process. So I feel, you see protein waters, you see collagen waters, like everything is now in water. Literally. So I feel the beverage space has a huge, opportunity to sort of tap into it, and now also sobriety is becoming a thing, which again means that we have a huge market that we can address with beverages. So that is exciting.
Yeah, a lot of things are alien to me over here, like sobriety. But so what was your eureka moment? Were you like, oh wow, this is what I want to do now? How did that come about? Was it a little moment, or was it just like a gradual thought?
It was definitely, I think it was both. I had the moment, and then I kept questioning it. I was like, okay, but then I was like, okay, fine, this is it. But honestly, it happened when, this is an anecdote, we were actually at a wedding, and you know how weddings have parties and stuff, but there was just so much plastic everywhere, and I was like, why are people consuming this much plastic? And shortly after, I traveled and I saw boxed water as a medium abroad, and I was like, why don't we have this in India? India is such a huge market, and it's such a growing market, and it is an interesting product, and that's how the sort of the germ of the idea came about. And eventually, one step at a time. Honestly, on the journey, I didn't even realize how we got where we got. It just happened like the thing. It just happened to me, but honestly, I'm so glad it did. Changed my life.
Wonderful. So Sonali, how do you go about coming up with exotic new things? I mean, there's some incredible processes over here. I've spoken to some of the ladies present over here. They have very unique ways of coming up with ideas. Some are very mathematical, some are very let's just go crazy and see where it goes. What's your process like? How do you come up with let's say, a new flavor or a new line? What are the thoughts that go behind?
So I think initially, the entire idea with the brand, was to kind of showcase Indian flavors. So I lived in Vancouver for about 2 years. I worked with farms there, worked in so many farmers markets there, and just the level of championing of local produce was just so incredible, and my mind just directly went into, we have so much over here to highlight. So yeah, that was the idea, kind of create Indian flavors in ice cream. Initially went pretty crazy, so I wanted to do masala cha sorbet, which we still have on the menu. Put pan in ice cream. Yeah, we did it.
People love it.
It's one of those novelty flavors. But then eventually, over time, I realized what works, and then we kind of had almost just a bandwidth in terms of what we can move up and down.
What's a great idea, but it should also actually work.
Yeah, so I feel like it's important to keep a balance. I do have way more crazy ideas, but now I try to control myself when it comes to new flavors being
Let them go. Once upon a time in Surat, and I'm talking about 2007, I went there and you will never, anybody here from Surat or Gujarat, thereabouts? Do you know what was the most popular ice cream flavor in Surat in 2007, which was everywhere? Do you remember? It was horrible. No guesses? Garlic. Garlic ice cream. Somebody came up with chili ice cream and that became like, oh, this is very cool. Of course, being Indian, we probably heard about chili chocolate and we were like chili and ice cream, so it was chocolate with like hari mirchi, right? And then somebody came with the idea of saying garlic try karte hain, and every ice cream shop in Surat had garlic, which was a little scary for me, gotta be honest. But that's how food evolves, I guess. We know a lot more, especially in the dessert space. I think we knew very little. Even in fact 3 or 4 years ago, the quality of desserts across India was just very, very different from what it is right now. So this sort of exploding market, and it's wonderful to see. And we at Swiggy have had to redefine the way we deliver, the way we look at taking products and getting them out there. And that's been a challenging but really exciting journey. I know that we are working very hard on cakes. In fact, Sid is probably looking on his phone, figuring out how cake delivery can be improved as we speak. But so, Amrit, how does it work? Do you spend most of your time now just sort of keeping that business machine well oiled and functioning? Or do you have a lot more time now for creativity? And on those two aspects, what's your preferred side, and are you happy with the time you're able to give to it?
I have personally chose a very different conscious life. I've kind of unplugged from this whole idea of constant performing and putting under this whole performance constant pressure. So for me it's quite different, but I'm noticing now that since last 1-2 years where I started slowing down and I started offering experiences which are now more aligned to what I believe. So for example, last year I started these silent breakfast in my Bandra studio, where I was just inviting 6 people on a table and we would do 2 sittings. So as a
married couples only, complete silence?
No. And it's a silent breakfast, so I was calling this unmute, like A-double-N, unmute. And the idea was to just slow down and taste your food, because it came from a thing that I was feeling socially anxious and I didn't want to go. I was noticing in Bombay, everywhere you meet people and you sometimes don't want to be talked to, you just want to be by yourself or you want to do your thing. And I thought this will be an interesting experiment, and I noticed that so I would give them a little diary to write their experience afterwards, and then I would read the insights that came from them. For some people it would evoke some kind of childhood memory, because now they're tasting the food and it's taking them places, because now they're not wasting that energy talking to each other, and it's more immersive inside. It also put lesser performance pressure as a chef for me, because I was doing pop-ups, private dining since a long time, but here I present food, I share what it is, and I move away, and they are with their food, tasting everything. And the idea of Ayurvedic meal was that Shad Ras, the 6 taste. I hope you taste all of these things that I'm bringing. And the whole curation was interesting. So I really like, plus I do a lot of fermented food as well. I enjoy going immersed. I cook with time. Everything at my end is slow cooked, overnight, fermented, sun-dried and cured. So that's something which develops so much of complex flavors, so much of textures and interesting things. So for me as a creative playground, I really enjoy that. So yeah, no, definitely I'm not in the churning. I've gotten myself off the hamster wheel, and I'm enjoying that slowness so much. And now that I'm inviting people to come and do this in Dharamshala, in my Chula kitchen, it's gotten even more softer.
Well, no, I love it. It's fantastic, because to me, I don't know if all of you is the same, but to me it really sounds like you're way more methodical and you're putting a lot more into how you're presenting your experiences. And you're still being creative, so there is a balance that can be created between both things. And that's the beauty of what we do when we work with food. We don't have to necessarily be in one space or be out of the other. But there is so much information, there's so much data and information out there in the world. Are you putting this down somewhere? Is your method of sharing it only when you're in contact with people? I mean, is there books? Is there social media? How are you putting it out there? We need to put it out a lot more.
Yeah, well, that's a challenging part for me. Like Amrita said, I never got into content creation. I'm a nutritionist and a trained chef who chose not to be in the heat. I just get scared, and so much admiration for people who are in the kitchen putting out food every day. And thankful to my team who do the job while letting me be the creative person. Yeah, and also for me, it's so aligned with what you do. You do all of that fermentation, slow drying, and all of that. And I'm proud to say that I've been always doing that for myself, and I always wanted to share it with people. Now we have a little production plant doing all these. Like for example, when I was even for myself, and I wanted to become a completely plant-based for health reasons. I wanted to, the fear was the creaminess of dahi, right? So when I realized that you can make yogurt with coconut, it's life-changing. It's life-changing, it's super delicious, and...
Any coconut yogurt makers here? Not coconut flavored.
Coconut yogurt, yeah, it's amazing.
But
it's just
huge opportunity right here.
Yeah, guys, you know, I have a...
Please speak to Sri Devi. We need coconut yogurt, not coconut flavored, but coconut yogurt.
It's how many ingredients in it?
Yeah, I used to call it toddy once upon a time, but that's a different
Oh, that's
fermentation.
also very nice actually. That's different though. That's different, Meera. Yeah. So, doing fermentations, bringing back what our ancestors did. It's not something that I learned from the West. Yes, like you said, interestingly, that's where I got reminded because I didn't live here for 25 years. So I grew up seeing my Amama and Nanama do drying of the mango, raw mangoes, fermenting and drying and all of that for the rest of the year and making pickles and all of that. But I didn't know the benefits of it back then. But from my education and also living abroad, I started to learn about kimchi and sauerkraut and kvass and stuff like that. I'm like amused, and then I come back and I'm like, it's right here. We have it all. We have it all. So bringing back kanji and ganji and all of that. And right now at Vibrant Living in our menu, we have millet sadhana. So basically millet rice with coconut milk poured in and fermented. And you put a tadka the next day with hing and curry leaves and jeera. I'm telling you,
This panel
it's
discussion
so
is getting so
divine.
difficult right now.
It is so divine.
Very challenging to be here right now.
No, this is where I love the most, to help people get excited about the food that brings them true happiness and that is sustainable. It's not fleeting. It's not fleeting. It's not while you're eating. It is also afterwards. So everything. She talked about tacos. Exactly. We are global now. Our palates have evolved, and now we want variety on our table. Even though dal, rice, papu, annam, pachadi might be very comforting, the next day you want already some lasagna. Okay, another day you want some burrito. We are like that. So yes, we can have it all with our locally grown ingredients. All it needs is some creativity, and that's exactly what we've been doing. And throughout that, people are like, oh, you're teaching us, and now they wanted me to set up a kitchen. That was a cloud kitchen. The term was not there back then. I had to put up a kitchen. It was almost like, I don't know, I put up a kitchen and started doing that. And then people are like, this is all going well, but my snacking is getting really disturbed. So developed a range of snacks. So with again, the same thing. There are bars, right? I mean, you're eating them like a supplement, not as food that gives you joy. Okay, but peanut chickies, they put glucose in it, and it's this and that is not being healthy. So what I started to do is, with my creativity and this thing, for cooks, you want to please, you want your children to love it and ask for it. So started making things like walnut from Uttarakhand. Okay, we soak and dry again, because again the background is that you want to get the negative part of it and just make it easily digested, and use cardamom with dates to make a bar. Now it's like your grandma's dessert or a mithai comes in a fancy bar form. So now
this is never ending. I mean, I've been traveling now for 20 odd years with food. I think I've traveled about 400,000 kilometers on Indian roads, consumed about 9,000 different kinds of foods across the country. So we've got it all. And like I said, just the traditional sweets like chicky was mentioned over here right now. Yogurts, we're talking about fermentations, we're talking about pickles, we've spoken about. There is so much out there which is surprising that just the list of Indian foods available is a never-ending food. But let's talk about delivery sort of. Let's start with you, Samiksha. How do you? I don't know how relevant it is. Of course, distribution would probably be your big challenge right now.
Yeah.
But tell us about that. How big of the water game right now is just simply distribution as opposed to the quality? Is this something that's a challenge?
I feel when we speak of distribution and quality, right? Previously, water, like I said, was quite an afterthought. But now, I feel both of them play a very important role. You need to have a quality product and you need to have better distribution. Because if you don't have distribution, your product will literally just be in the warehouse. So yes, both of them play a very important role. For us, we had to identify certain cities which we wanted to target first, which were obviously Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and then going to tier 2 cities from there.
So right now you're in the big cities, of course?
We are across
and
all.
Back is also now into the tier 2 cities.
Yes, that's the plan for this year.
Super. Well, all the
Thank
best.
you.
I wish you lots of luck. Sonali, how about you? How relevant is the getting food out there to people, the sort of delivery, the business that we're in? How much of a role does that play in your business right now? And is it something that you see growing in the future?
100%. I think that was sort of the idea to begin with. We wanted to create sort of like a layered ice cream experience where, since I basically didn't want to start with a scoop shop just because I want to get the product as strong as possible before we get into the experiential part.
So you actually went the other way?
Yeah, I went the other way.
You actually started delivery first and then went to an outlet?
Because I just felt that was much more of a comfort zone for us to improve the product, and with ice cream it's so temperature sensitive, so there's so many things I have to take care of. When you look at commercial ice cream, there's so much in there that helps with the logistics, increases shelf stability, and we don't add any of that. And yeah, my idea was to kind of create a completely different experience, have a format which is similar to an FMCG format, but fresh, small batch, and like everything freshly made. So yeah, we were very heavily dependent on delivery from the get-go. And I think just getting the packaging right, making sure that the temperature sustains till it reaches the customer. So that again took some time for us to figure out.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I love the way that all of you contribute. It's not just the fact that we are in the business of delivering food, it's also the kind of feedback that we get from you, the kind of requirements that you have to make sure that when your food gets to the customer, it is the best that we could possibly make. It keeps us on our toes all the time. There's a lot of thought and a lot of effort that goes into what we do and what we bring, least of all being, of course, the time that we're talking about, the packaging, the form it reaches, the delivery aspect itself, and so much more. But that's great. Are you reaching out to a lot of people? How's this delivery game working for you? Are you doing it? And if not enough, would you like to do more? And if not, then why not? It's a lot of questions.
That's enough. But the thing is, currently I don't have a product which I have to get it delivered. I have been a home chef. In fact, I started as after I started teaching cooking.
So would you like to see a chef's table happening?
Definitely.
That somebody can put up for you? Let's say, okay, here's Amrit, she's coming to Delhi.
Absolutely. Experiential stuff is where we need this kind of logistic supports and all of that. My role is right now going to be a different thing as well, because I'm also into educating people about awareness about your food choices. One of the things that I teach is unconscious, really become conscious of what you're eating and how you're eating. And a big part of this, because I regularly interact with my students, big part of it is also what choices I'm making while ordering food as well. Something as small as this as well. But coming back to the original question, I have been there where I was a home chef running from my 1 BHK Versova kitchen, and I was known for my bacon jam at that time. And then from that I turned vegetarian, moved to Ayurveda, and then got into this whole other completely...
You lost your way somewhere.
Maybe the bacon jam.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But I remember even at that time, and back then my first travel in 2013 is when I had launched my bacon jam. At that time, even while being in Bombay, it was so difficult to figure out how to do anything. Where to even get jars from? And I remember somebody gave me contact like Crawford mein milega, and then Crawford ke maine kitne chakkar lagaye to find that jar. And at that time there were no logistics, there was no those VFAs or any kind of like small concierge services. So I remember at that time I had a scooter. I would take orders through the week. From the Thursday, I would know what all orders have come, and that time orders used to come from Twitter, used to come from like WhatsApp and random places, and I would place my order for the bacon that comes from Raigad. I also did a lot of research into finding that. Then sterilizing those jars, making the jam, and jam took 24 to 28 hours to cook the bacon jam because that's a long process. And then after that, I would go on my scooter to deliver it. At least from Burswood and Bandra, I would do it, And I remember...
That's literally a journey,
yeah. And now that I chose to not do this, not having to do this, I also see that how much that efforts, that mehnat taught me so much about building something. And I know how we all right now, of course, need like more and more people are trusting the home chefs more because they know they can at least trust the quality. And right now we are bombarded with these packagings which tells us everything is like fat-free and healthy and protein this and fiber that and all of that. People are overwhelmed with insane choices. So more and more people will trust our story as a home chef. So I think this is where now the game has changed. It has become easier because the platforms like Swiggy exist, that people home chefs also can bring their products and it can reach right audience at right time, and also then the prices and everything can be worked out. It can be beneficial to all of us, and that's the amazing thing that's happening in India right now. Everybody is choosing to exercise that entrepreneurial thing also, and people are in experimental stage. People also love trying new things. So we're in a very good space.
No, it's a great space, and more the merrier is what I say. But in closing, and sadly we're out of time. That went by really fast. Please.
How this delivery game has changed for me. So when we started in 2010, I think kitchen was set up in 2012 maybe. So we hired X number of people, bought scooters, and did all these deliveries, right? And then Swiggy comes, game changer. So after, I think just before COVID, I think we discovered, I know we were a little slow at discovering. It's like, okay, you don't need to manage people. You don't need to let somebody outsource. So it's really convenient. It added a lot of convenience to us, definitely.
Great, I'm so happy to hear that. And so just in closing, we've got a wonderful bunch of extreme entrepreneurs over here who overcome so many challenges. What would your remarks be to all of them? What would you like to leave them with?
First, thank you all for your contributions. It means a lot. I'm so energized to see so much of feminine energy that too connected with food. This is the right crowd. So what I wanted to say is that, again, the mom is coming out of me. Take care of yourself. Stay grounded. Don't be rushing. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, and nourish yourself so that you are nourished, body and mind together. Choose right every day, every meal.
Thank you. That was wonderful. Thank you. Please, big hand for Shri. Over to you.
From my personal experience and from what I'm seeing right now, a lot of people are on the verge of burnout, and we don't even realize it gets too late. During the pandemic, before just pandemic.
I see many nodding heads.
Yeah. So I would say, and I know that I have done it, and it is fucking scary because you're doing so much and you're successful, and there's a whole thing that is laid out. And then when you choose yourself and you say, okay, this is right now not sustainable for me, my health, my life, my personal things, then sometimes it's okay to take a pause. And now that I am 6 years down the line and I'm sitting here and receiving this award, I do feel like, okay, it was a detour and it was restlessness, but it's good that I prioritized myself and I took the break when I really needed to. And especially for women, when we are into our late 30s and 40s and moving towards that, I think it's really important because दूसरों के लिए कितना भी कर लो वो कम ही पड़ जाता है, but खुद के लिए थोड़ा भी करो तो काफी होता है. And the prioritizing our own meals, our own rest, it is really important. So I would just really say that please take this as a sign. If you need to take a break, take it. The world will go on and it will revolve around you later. It will all come together. That's what I'd like to say.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Please, big hand for Hon'ble. I think it's wonderful. You know, my mother was an entrepreneur. She started working when she was 24. She had 2 kids to look after. She always used to say that women in this country have to work twice as hard to achieve half of what a man can achieve. And that is our challenge, and that will continue to be our challenge. However, she always said that that is no excuse to not go ahead and do it. But I think that is a very valid point, you know, just the effort, the drive, the focus, the commitment, the time that it takes to put together what you amazing ladies have done is so great that a lot of times you forget about yourself, taking pressures of how you're going to run your home, how you're going to run your business, etc. So very valid point. I completely echo that. I took a minute to add that. Saloni, please, last words.
Sure, I think...
For this panel discussion.
I think it's just like one thing, you know, I kind of noticed, especially with like women running businesses, they're very afraid to kind of get in front of the camera, tell their story, talk about themselves. So one thing I would say is, you know, like it took me about 5 years to get comfortable, you know, to be in front of the camera, but honestly it is really a game changer. And I think people, you know, want to know your story, they want to know more about you. So, you know, even if you have like 1,000 thoughts, I still do every time I'm in front of the camera. I'm just like, oh my God, what am I doing? I don't want to do this. But I feel like, you know, just kind of pushing yourself, you know, being out there and, you know, because it's something you've created, you know, you should be proud of it and talk about it. So yeah, I think that's one thing I would say.
Fantastic, well said. Take the credit. Big hand to Saloni, please. Saniksha.
So I'm quite new on my journey, so I don't have any words of wisdom, but I will say thank you to all of you for being such an inspiration, to women around you, to me. Honestly, sitting here and hearing all of your stories is so nice, because often, like Saloni said, right, women don't take credit for all the work that we do. But being in this room today makes me feel really happy, and yeah, thank you all.
Thank you. A big hand for Saniksha, please. So thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you for being here. It's an honor for me personally to be here, and I really appreciate getting this chance to talk to all of you.
May I now invite all awardees and dignitaries on the stage for a group photograph which captures not just the achievement but collective strength. Please welcome all of you on the stage for a group photograph.